Nicole Bonner, and this is Thrive in Chiropractic, and we're here today again with Dr. Colton O'Brien as we journey with him through his journey of opening a practice and going through that entire process. And now, welcome, Colton.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Dr. Nicole? Happy to be here again.
Yeah, I'm happy to have you here. I'm stoked to be here too. You are now, what about like 3 months in practice?
3 months in practice.
Wow. Did it go fast or did it seem like it dragged out?
It's one of those things where it's like some days felt really long, but now looking back at the whole process, it went by in a flash. Like I'm going from this. It's funny how you segment your life growing up. Like it's like, oh, 6 weeks in school or a year in school. And then in college, it's semesters. In a chiropractic school, we did trimesters. So it's like every 3 months, you just evaluate your life. And now it's like, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. So it's different, it's interesting, but definitely takes some adapting to. But I love it. It's fun. It's like I feel like I'm a participant in life now, not just like that you're always striving for different goals or different things that you have on your vision board and all that, but not a whole lot is going to be changing as far as like what I'm going to be doing. Like I'm going to be serving chiropractic till I can't anymore now. So
that is awesome. Dude, you have a vision board?
I have like a vision notes app, like of just stuff that like people that I wouldn't even call it a vision board. It's just like things that inspire me and to look forward to, or just like little drawings, stuff like that.
That's so cool.
But
I love that.
my to-do list is to make like an actual vision board. So maybe I'll find some time on a free weekend to do that.
Yeah, I actually did. It was really fun. A couple of years ago, I did it with my 2 boys, Lucas and Cole.
Oh, cool.
And they were like young teenagers, maybe like 12 or 14 years old. And we just had a blast. We got a bunch of magazines and got glitter and stuff. We made it really fun. And I got to teach my boys what it was like to start creating a vision and, just keeping that vision in front of your mind's eye all the time, just looking at it. And I went back and, a couple of years later, I found my vision board like crumbled up someplace where Joe had like thrown it in a closet or something like that. And I went back and like everything that was on that vision board, I accomplished. It was so freaking cool.
That is cool. And it's cool to have had your boys like learn that lesson in such a fun way at such a young age, that really the power of intention, the power of vision, the power of just like putting down what you want to see and achieve in life. That's pretty special.
It is really powerful. And, one of the first things that we did when you started the Jumpstart program months and months ago, when I think you were still, when you started the Jumpstart program, you were still in chiropractic college. The first module we did was creating a vision. Did you go back to look at your homework from that module? And did you like, does your like physical world today match the vision that you created back then? That would be really cool.
In a way, yes. I'm sitting here thinking, and people talk a lot about setting these visions, setting these goals, and all that, which is fantastic, to write them down, to think about them, to put them on a vision board. But I think the real juice is in the feeling associated with that. Like a lot of people talk about that, in the Bible, Jesus talks about pray as if you've received, and then people talk about if you're like manifesting in life, you have to get into that feeling state of what it will feel like, what it'll be like to actually be there. And so when you brought that up, I kind of closed my eyes and just sat back and remembered that module. I remember exactly where I was at. And I remember like sitting in quietness and just visualizing every detail, to the smell, to the sounds, to the light coming in, to the plants around. And the space is a little different, but the feel is the same. And what's really cool is the affirmation of people saying, wow, this place feels like blank. And I'm like, that's exactly what I wanted it to feel like. So yes and no, but mostly yes, to answer your question.
That is so cool. I didn't even think about that. I think I'm going to have other clients do that, go back to that homework and see if like that's what they actually created in their physical world. I would be surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Absolutely. And like and if it's not, it's a good check. Cause I mean, especially whenever, if when it's theoretical and you can have anything in your mind, but then like you look back and like, maybe I operated out of scarcity here and that's why it's not like this, or maybe I'm living out of integrity and it's not like this. And so it could be a good check too, or just to see how you changed in your belief systems too. I don't know.
certainly, yeah. That made me remember that reminded me of something, the one rule I told you, I'll see if you remember it, but when you were opening your practice, I said this is going to be your dream practice. So you're the one in control, you're the one making the decisions, you're the one making the creation. But I said there was one thing that you weren't allowed to do. You weren't allowed to make decisions out of, do you remember what that was?
Either fear, lack, or scarcity. One of those.
Yeah, there's fear. Yeah, I told you you're not allowed to make decisions out of fear.
And that's, man, that's a probably, if I could sum it up to one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from you during this time is like not to live or act out of scarcity or fear. I've noticed areas where I have, even though your wise counsel has told me not to. I know those areas that I've had, and I'm going to have to face the repercussions of that. I think things are all going to work out, but I think, to be completely open, honest, and vulnerable with the people listening, I started too small, to be honest with you. Like, my practice is growing and people are wanting to be there. People are referring in, and I have a passion to serve as many people as possible. And right now it's fine, but I see myself outgrowing the space that I'm in very soon. And I chose that space. One, I loved the way it felt, and I love the community and the atmosphere around it. But I could have went a little bigger, maybe even a storefront. And it would have been a little scarier, and it was more fearful, but I chose this and I'm rocking with it, and I'm going to keep doing my best in it. But just for people out there that are listening, like, don't underestimate yourself or what you can do, because it's extremely possible. And even if it doesn't take off at the very beginning, you have the infrastructure to continue to grow. So it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, I guess I'd say. So, learning lesson from me. So don't make the same mistake as me, but also at the same time, like, if you want to serve, like, just like in a very intimate setting, like, and start small and look at people as people. And that was my big thing. I didn't want to look at people as dollar signs, which I don't think I would have regardless, but this is a great option too, starting small. So, to each their own, but those are the two lessons that I've learned. So take it for what it is.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Colton, because I get that, with coaching. Now we're coaching another group of people, three people again, going through the same process that you went through the Jumpstart program. And it's fascinating because as human beings, we kind of all go through the same things. And so the same types of concerns and maybe a little bit of fear and scarcity that you guys had opening your practice, this next group coming through the process that is having the same exact thing. And and of course I told them, I said the same thing to them, you can make, this is your creation, this is not mine. So whatever you decide to do, I will support you and I'll teach you how to do it. But when you're not allowed to make that decision out of fear, you have to make that decision out of abundance and out of being, kind of like a calling or a desire, like your deepest desire of what it is that you really want. So
Mm.
thank you for sharing that with people. And I always tell people, like, and another thing that I want you to share too, and practice certainly isn't all about money, but money is a big part. You here, let's just be real for a moment. You can't give your gift to humanity and to the planet if you don't have the money to to rent a space or to keep your lights on or to feed your family or to take care of yourself, right? So money is important. It is a factor. It does bring us freedom, and money allows us to serve. It's an energy exchange that allows us to serve. So I forget where actually I was going with this. I really like money, if you don't.
Yeah, well, yeah,
You
like
really like
you
it.
said, it's necessary. So,
Yeah. So, oh, I know where I was going with this. I was going to ask you, for the people that are listening, you know, how many days were you in practice? If you remember, how many days were you in practice until you revenued like your first dollar in business? Like, did you revenue your first dollar the first day you opened?
Yes, just with the
Right.
exams. Yeah. So
Mhm. Yeah, the first day you opened, you had exams, so you got paid whatever, those exams were. And then the second day or third day that you were open, you literally were closing care plan.
yes, yes. And in my first week in practice, since I worked so hard to get all those people in there, was by far my busiest because they take up those longer slots, and so it's all exams and report of findings. So it's my busiest week, and it was my highest earnings week because like I literally had it was just exam report of findings, and like everyone, it felt so good. Like everyone was saying yes, call it beginner's luck, whatever you want to call it, but it was cool.
No, it was not luck. It was not luck, people. Let me just tell you, because I know Colton is like one of the most humble human beings that I know, so he will not say this, but let me just tell you that this kid for the 8 week, he did, first of all, Colton, you did exactly what I told you to do, down to like literally the letter. I don't think you did anything that if I told you to do it, man, you did it. That's number one, is you got to be coachable. Number two, this kid worked his butt off. Like I think we did 8 weeks, 8 weeks prior to opening. He did marketing, branding, health talk, spinal screenings. He did what he needed to do to be successful literally on day one. And I'm sharing that with you guys because I know Colton will not say that because he's so humble. But you did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate your guidance in that. I mean, that's something my mom always instilled in me as I was a basketball player. She was always like my coach, my mentor in basketball. And she's like, being coachable is essential. And having a coach is essential. So can't do it by ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fascinating on my end, Colton, because I take people through this process and I can see based on the range of what they follow that I tell them to do, like you have somebody like yourself, like where you're over here, let's say you follow 100% of what I told you to do, and then let's say you have somebody totally over here and followed 0% or just about 0% of like what I told you to do. Like it shows in your stats.
Mm.
It shows in your stats. It's crazy how predictable this system is if you implement it. You know.
Well, y'all that have been in practice longer than me know a lot more than I do. So
Well, I wish I had this program and I guess that's why I created the program is I when I look back, I look at number one, like all the dumb things I did in practice, all the stupid stuff I said, all the patients I lost. And so like that's not just for me, but now that's a life that goes without chiropractic care that goes out my door subluxated.
mm,
And literally, like you're gonna die when you hear this, but like literally, I probably lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in business just by making mistakes.
mm. Wow.
Just by like trusting somebody I shouldn't have trusted, or just buying something that I didn't need, or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
So cool. So, all right. So I actually had in some intended questions for you this week. So can you share with us now that you're into this 3 months now? Can you share with us some of like the biggest insights you've had, maybe in the last week or the last couple of weeks, like any aha moments?
Um, from a communication standpoint, just like disrupting, like you don't have to be a yes man. And like, I mean, I'm someone who loves to be liked and to a flaw at times, but you don't have to be a yes man. And people honestly will respect you more and need it more when you disrupt those limiting those limiting how do I say it? Just like beliefs that they have that come out in their vocabulary. Like, I don't know, when people are speaking poorly about themselves or about their body, and then not just like letting it brush over, but like breaking that pattern there, even if it's abrupt. Like, I don't love, to do that, but it's necessary. And like, like I said, I like to be liked, but I like people to get well better. And the
Mm.
way I've started to see, as I'm starting to finish up some care plans, the people that truly are invested and believe that they are healing and can heal, like they're getting amazing results. Everyone's getting results, but the speed in which they are doing it is much greater because of the concept that they can heal is really special. That's cool. And then just it's another thing too, back to that on more of the chiropractic side, like in school, it was very theoretical, chiropractic. It was very philosophical, chiropractic. But now, like seeing chiropractic working, like chiropractic works, and it's as simple as that. Like if I'm just there, if I'm the hollow bone and I deliver the adjustment and get out of the way, like people heal, and
Mhm.
that's pretty special. And it's the reason that this profession has outlasted all the attacks. It's the reason that this is what it is, because it produces. And so chiropractic is enough in and of itself. So just deliver beautiful, honoring adjustments when and where they're supposed to be, and people are gonna heal.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, especially for the chiropractic students that are watching this. I think that's just gold. It's like, you have to have, Jim Parker said faith, confidence, and belief, right? Like you have to know that people are going to heal. You have to trust it.
Yeah, he said something like, in order to heal, you have to eliminate doubt in both the doctor and the patient, or something like. I don't think that's verbatim, but I know he said something like that, which is really cool.
Colton, I put what you said into a one-liner quote. You said, I liked it because I love this so much, so I wrote it down. I like to be liked, but I love people to get better. I like to be liked, but I love people to get better.
Mm.
That's like powerful. That's so powerful. We all, I think, have this desire to, I mean, shoot, man, it's one of our human needs is love and connection.
Mhm.
So I think we all have this desire to be liked and for people to want to be around us. But what's more important? Is it more important to be liked, or is it more important that that your patient have a breakthrough so they can get the care that they need and have healing,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Speaking,
can I
like I think speaking to that on like a business side, we're talking about but and this is another thing, an insight that I've had is like, I've always heard it and it was theoretical, but you start to see it. But people do buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So your marketing, your networking, none of that's in vain, even if you're not seeing the fruits of it. Like I remember I was like, I don't know why I joined this BNI group. Like these people aren't gonna, like, which is a terrible mindset to have too, because it's about giving, not gaining. But as you build relationships with people, they know you and they like you and they trust you, and then they're much more likely to refer their friends and family to you. And same thing with your chamber, or even just like you're posting on social media, like when they get to know you personally, that builds that trust, that builds that rapport. So those efforts aren't in vain, even though you don't see the immediate fruits, which I think we talked about last week. So broken record over here.
Yeah, but that's something that you and I talk about a lot. So it sounds like it's a broken record, but this is something that, our audience has never heard. So, and it's important. It's important. Awesome, man. So I got some bad news. We're like coming to the end of our time already.
Time flies. It does every week. This is an awesome podcast. I hope everyone that's listening goes back and plays it over. Yeah, learn from my mistakes and learn from Dr. Nicole's wisdom, and yeah, share with your friends, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up on this Thriving Chiropractic podcast. And Colton and I will be with you next week. And in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some things to maybe shake it up here a little bit. So keep tuning in. And if you like our show, then leave us some comments so that we know that you guys are watching this and you're getting value from it. All right, Colin, love you, man. I'll talk to you next week.
Love you too. See ya.
Ciao.